So I'm going to go ahead and start. So welcome to our live instructional webinars, Design Sport Memory Book Online Yearbook program. So today we will be focused on functions that relate to building activity or candid pages. And specifically, we will be reviewing page bleeds and margins, the toolbar, the tabs, the design functions, our list of templates that we have, from just regular templates to click and go templates, and how to even take those and make your own custom templates out of ours. And then we'll wrap it up with themes, or basically the theme art that you can apply. You know, if you've selected one of our covers, we have most of our covers have theme art that go with it. So I'll just show you how to apply that. So everything, real quick, what is the address to find? We actually, from the registration emails, we send a link out to everyone that signed up. So it'll be a link coming in your email there. So, all right. So the first thing, and I'm just already dropped into on a page here, just opening up, looking at a 2-page spread. So the first thing I'm going to explain tonight is the concept of bleed. Now, what bleed means in printing, and I'm going to zoom in on the page here a little bit. And I'm going to come to about right here. So when we're talking about bleeding and printing, basically what that is bleed is it's color that extends beyond the edge of the page. And why that is important, and now you'll see that with backgrounds, and I'm going to put this shape out here and explain a few things. So when we're looking at a page, we have this inside blue area, and you have the grid here. Now, this is your inside margin area, anything within the blue. So when you're building on your book, all important text and photos, primarily you'll want to keep in here, unless you're doing a collage page, and I'll touch on that just in a second on what you would do there. This outer line here, this is our estimated trim line. Now, this is where the page is estimated to be trimmed at. So during actual production, there could be a variance up to 1/8 of an inch of where your book is going to be trimmed here. Factors that come into play with that are, the actual how the trimming machine, how the trimmer is operating that day. Could be whoever the operator is. Could be a combination of both. So this is just an estimated line, and that's where it's going to be trimmed at, but it could fall far below. So then we get back to bleed. Now this area right out here, this is where your backgrounds, and if you stick images out to there, this is the bleed area. This is what's estimated to be trimmed off. So why bleed is important on that is if you have any background bleeding off the page and it goes to get trimmed, you have full color extending off the very edge. So if it gets trimmed, if your backgrounds are bleeding out, it'll leave it with nice color along the edge, and it won't leave you with any unsightly, white edging or anything like that could really kind of, put a blemish on the page there. But that's all when we talk about bleeding in printing, it's just color that extends beyond the edge of the page. And that way, when it goes to get trimmed, you have that nice clean color that's right all the way to the edge. Now, another thing when working on your pages, and I'm going to back down just a little, well, maybe a little bit here. When you're building collage pages, now, some pages, we have lots of templates that you can drop photos into. You can also, if you're making a candid or collage page, just drag and drop your images over from the images tab. So you just drag and drop them over. I'm going to undo that because I need that photo back. I'm going to bring that down there here. But you can just drag and drop it on and size images to your liking there. And then kind of filter those and build those around the page, resize them to your liking, Now, when doing that, some things to look out for if you are bleeding your images off to the edge of the page. One is when you're building those, look at how those photos and where they're best to play. images that you'll want to bleed out to the edges. You'll want to be, basically it'll be area that you're not concerned or it's not really importance of being trimmed off. Now with this photo, when we're looking at it, and I'm going to bring the page size down. So if this were a page that was out on the side here, we can see like, here, we can see that about this area right here, this is what's going to get trimmed off. Both our students here are still within the margins, and nothing important here is at risk of being trimmed. This same photo, bring it over to the other side here. So now it's on the inside. So this is the gutter of the book, the binding side of the book right here. And again, what is going to fall into the binding here is just a little bit of arm and all that. But our student, or they're still right here within the page. So all important. The importance here of this photo is within the margins. Ideally, this too will work going down at the bottom of the page. I mean, you got a little bit of arm and that, a little trimmed off, but nothing really of importance. Where this particular image would have problems at, or what may or could put this on to be questioned or later, is if we stuck this up to the very top. So when you're dealing with images, right here, like we said, this was the estimated trim line. So we could actually have a little more, or it could, if we had an 1/8 of a variance off, I'm going to bring down a guideline here, and we can say, there could be a little bit more than what we intended. And also the student is falling outside of the margins here, really putting the top of their head at risk of being just trimmed off in production, which, a lot of times, it may, know if that upset parent, upset teacher, or just, doesn't look right to begin with. So if you build collage pages, one thing to kind of look out for is just kind of what's the general open space around. So stuff that you're not worried about is, sky background, maybe there's some foreground shot of like grass or something. So when you're looking at those, just see what open areas you have. And then, if you need to move stuff around to where, you have best fit and, you're not having anything to worry about getting trimmed off. So just wanted to go over that real quick, what bleed was, and if you stick stuff out there in your margins, and just kind of what you're looking for there. All right, so next here, I'm actually going to zoom in on my browser here so I can point out these tabs and everything just a little bit better. So like I said, we're going to go over functions and what is where across here. So I'm going to do a rundown of this whole toolbar right here. Then we're going to come down the side. So under File, here's where we're going to see things like Save, or if you need to save a customized layout as a template. So we have Save, and Template. Save is also a quick selection here on our top toolbar. That's this little like 3.5 floppy disk icon back there. So we don't have those anymore nowadays, but we're going to hit Save there as well. We have practice pages that you can play with. What these are is basically it kind of loads you into a separate area to kind of work on, you can work on, functions, play with different formatting and stuff. Practice pages are exactly what they are. They're practice pages in that. New practice page, if you want to just open up another one. Now what these practice pages are is, practice pages are basically just for that. Now, if you did like make a practice page and say that you like totally just made it an actual awesome looking page and you were like, I want to apply this to a page later, can that be done? Yes. Basically, any of these practice pages, they are actually going to save under the Designs tab here, and they are going to show up under Custom, and you'll see those under Practice pages. Now, I myself, I don't have any. This is my demo, so this whole thing's my practice pages and that, but yours will show up under designs and go under custom, and they'll be right here. Other things that we have here, we'll see stuff like if you want page info at a glance, if anyone's assigned, if deadline, stuff like that. If you want to mark the page complete. View PDF is if you want to do a proof page of this, to where then, bring down a PDF, you can send that out, print it out at that point, put it out for review, or if you view PDF, you can save it down digitally, send that out. If you need anyone, helping hand to look over a page, if you have a paragraph or anything, you need someone to double check your type. Good way to, practice pages, view PDF. Good way to get a proof of that page. This is also the preview page button that is up at the top. So either way, what this will do, if you click this, I'm going to save my changes here. Just gives you basically a low resolution proof that you can set out here, send out. Like I said, you can either download it or print it out. But yeah, preview pages really good for if you need those help review. Now, going over under edit, we do have our normal, we start off with undo and redo, and we have those options right here as well. We're going to go under, now you also have your standard cut, copy, paste, delete. Also under edit is the change background menu, and we're going to come back to this in a little while where we do theme art in that. Some of our text editing option or text options that we have is find and replace and spelling or spell check. Now it's not kind of like a robust kind of spell check like you'd see in Microsoft products like Word or something like that. It will find obvious misspellings going through, but it doesn't catch really grammar. So that'll something when you're reading your stuff, definitely kind of check over grammar usage, because it's not going to flag anything like that. It's also it's not also going to catch correctly misspelled words. So like the there, and there. So, if you were typing out a paragraph and, like it was their ball. So, if you'd be like THEIR, there, but if you did THERE, say the program is going to see that as just a correctly spelled word. So it's not going to catch that usage difference where you really need. So just another thing, while we have spelling, it's going to look for misspelled things, actual misspellings. But if it's a correctly spelled word used in the wrong usage, it's not going to catch that. We also have select options here. So if you have a whole page filled out, if you want to select just certain items, like just the images, or let's say you want to do all the text box formatting at once, you could do that. Shapes. If you're looking for incomplete elements on your page, empty text boxes, empty photo boxes, stuff like that, you do that. Something was locked, you want to point that out, you do that. Also, if you were looking for a particular color or font, these are something that's kind of been new, added to this season compared to last. So that's kind of neat. Look for a particular color if I was looking for something like that. Or shapes with all the same color. Moving over here, under view, we've got our hide rulers, which I always leave them up. Hide page margin. I always leave the page margin up just so I know where to stay within. Hide grid lines. Well, they're on right now, so you can hide them from here. There is also down in the bottom right corner, where I'm down here, this little hash button here, the button with the little hash symbol on it. If you click that on and off, that'll just toggle on and off your backgrounds there. Also under here, snap to grid is kind of off now, but basically if it's on, it allows stuff to move by half of a little grid. Where if snap to grid is off, your alignment, movements, and that are more precise. Hide guides. I pulled a guide down here earlier, so you can bring down guides to help you with alignment or just spacing, or so you can bring the top one will bring down horizontal. You got the side ruler, bring over vertical guides. And if we need to either lock them in place, we could do that. We could clear them out or just hide them. So I'm going to show them, but then I'm going to come here and I'm going to clear all guides just to take those out. Your zoom in, zoom out, and fit to window can be found on here too. This is also right here as a quick selection, just to zoom out, zoom in, do your different percentages. Now down below, this is how you're going to change your page view. Okay, so on the page view, you're always defaulted to facing pages. Oh, real quick question. I got one here I can slip in, and I'm sorry I was getting on the pages. But tying in with the guides, I just got a question on, will the guides grid show on the final product? Nope. These are just on screen here to aid in embedding. So nope, they're not going to be not in the final product. They're just display on here. So good question though. So no, rest assured, you won't see those come on your final book there. So be kind of blank. You won't even see these guides that are here. But facing pages and that, so you start off with side by side, and then you can also switch to single page. Let's save that. So this may come important, if you're the only one working on their book, or maybe it's just you and one other person, you can primarily get by with doing the facing pages. Just one thing is that it's always best not to work on the same 2-page spread as another person while they're working on the book. So I mean, if what will happen though is if let's say that I was working on one side and I had another person working on the right, if we both had this up at the same time, it leads to potential for save errors. So let's say if you were to save your progress first, well, I would then, you'd save, you'd go on. But if I went to save, I'd get a save error saying, another person has claimed this page. Would you like to save your changes as a template? And then I would have to save my pages as a template, leave the page without saving, come back later and drop on my template as progress. What you can do in this case is let's say that you want to avoid the save errors, because what we'll see sometimes is with bigger yearbook groups that have, we have an advisor that has maybe around 10, I'm just going to use 10 as a good say, 10 staff, 10 students helping on the book. Ideally, you'll want to have each one of those students assigned to their own spread. However, sometimes not always possible, and maybe you have Billy assigned to the left, Sally assigned to the right page. Well, the best instance for both of them, so that neither one of them either, they don't have save errors, is have both of those people or students switch to a single page view. Then once you're in a single page view, once both of them are in single page, whatever one does to one side will not affect the other side. So Billy on the left can work and save, Sally can work and save, and then being that they're both in single pages, they won't have save errors, and they can go, about, finishing, moving on to other projects and that. So again, just ideally, if you are assigning pages with staff logins, assign one student to the spread. But if you know that you're not going to be able to do that, just give the kids, the students, staff, whoever, heads up, switch to a single page, and that way you won't run into those errors. Okay, so moving on, there is a range. Tell you what, we're gonna go to some of our arrangement options here. And I'm gonna bring these to different color. Now, one of these, as I go through here, this is gonna help with one of the questions earlier. And it's basically overlapping. Oh, and there's overlapping to both pages. So can something overlap in the middle? I mean, something like this wouldn't be bad. The only thing really that might fall into the binding, I got him in the margin here and this kiddo in the margin here, really just some shoulders going to fall in. So will it look bad? Not really. We have big group shots that expand both pages all the time. And it's just, if there's some kind of a split or something in there that fits, looks pretty good. Now on some of those, it just depends on the photo, really. And then just again, I covered snap to grid just a bit ago, but snap to grid is, if it's on, it moves by half a grid. Like when you move something across the page, it moves by half of one of these little grid squares. Whereas if it's off, it's just more precise. Okay, so let's get back to where we're at here. We're going to go under some of the arrangement here. So under arrangement, you're going to find, if I highlight these, now a lot of these are arranged, like align horizontally, vertically. These options are also in a quick drop down. They're over here on the right. So we'll have these align left, right, center, and then we're going to do the tops and all that. So when you have, let's say in a row, your aligned top, middle, and bottom are going to be good for your rows to pull those photo boxes one way or the other. And then anything of the other ones, align left and right and center, are going to be for your columns. And that'll help you pull things and align things up neat there. Well, it says, let me select a couple here. So we got transform. This is stuff where you can like flip the photo, do different kind of stuff like that. You want to rotate. Now you can also rotate images by grabbing this little handle up here and just making it more precise on how you want that rotated when you have that on a page. So that's what a range is. A range is going to be, if you want to mirror here. And that just mirrors the page when I do something like that. So then it mirrored it vertically, which not really. So this might be good on certain templates if you need to flip them when you're on certain pages. Oh, I wanted to go back the other way here. There we go. Okay, so under arrange, this is where you're gonna find your, align left, right, middle, top, and all that. So that way you can either make your rows nice and neat or your columns nice and neat there. Mirror flips things. And transform, basically that's a couple different things. If you're under transform, transform is also up here as well. What transform will do, this is where you can really get in, and if you need to kind of tweak the size of a photo just precisely, that's what this will allow you to rotate that manually. You can really get precise with your rotations in here. You can type in a number, it'll put it in just the way you have it there. So here we've gone through all of these, gone through toolbars. Let's get into some other fun stuff here. So as we're going through our tabs, the top one here, and I'm going to bring this down a little bit. There we go. Okay, so the list coming down, pages, this is going to be much like your page ladder, and you're just going to navigate through the other pages. If you select a page here, it'll just take you to that page in the designer. Go back to where it was. I'll just pick a new page here. Designs. Here is where we're going to find our templates. So if I go under practice pages, and I go into, and we're going to go down to page surfer, and we're going to look in candids. Now, actually, anything under page surfer is good for full page layouts. So it's full page pre-made layout. I'm going to go under candids here. Now under candids, this has some of our more of our simple templates. Some just have photo boxes that are there. Some do have photo boxes and headings. Just going to drag and drop one over to a page. You'll see this message again from time to time, retain existing content. In this case right here, I can hit yes or no because there's nothing on the page. Now, undo this, and real quick, I'm going to come down to our art tab, and I'm going to go down to just some of the generic backgrounds that are here in the program. So some of these here under art and background, now these are all the generic ones. These are not the ones that are going to tie into any themes, and we're still going to get to that in a little bit. But just with these generic ones that are here, I'm just going to drag and drop one over. So I have one here. And then I'm going to go back to this template that I was working with just a little bit before. Okay, so here's where this would actually get important. Normally I like to put on backgrounds last. It really doesn't matter if you do it before or after. But if you have it on before, here's where then this retain existing content message comes into a little bit into play. So if you want to retain existing content, so in this case, let's say I hit no. My background is gone. So I'm going to undo that. Let's just do that again. Now, if I bring the template over, do you want to retain? If I hit yes this time around, I'm going to keep my background there. But yeah, you can go either way. So I can even have the background off. No, don't want that. Or I'm just going to pick a new one in this case. Just apply the background later. So either or. I typically like to have the layout on the page first. That's just a personal preference when I'm building a page or doing something, and then put on the background last. But if you do put the background on first, just remember when you toss that template on, you get that retain existing message. Hit yes, and that way you'll keep both. So a lot of times, I'm just going to toss the other side on there. Okay. So under images, this is, if you've uploaded everything in the image library and you have everything sorted under your folders. So we've got, the generic folders are there. You can go through and make new ones, but I'm just going to pull up a folder here. It's just dragging and dropping these in. Now, as you're bringing your photos over, you notice all these other boxes that I'm hitting here. If you see that box light up green, that means that image will drop right in there. Now, if you bring an image over, so here we go. I'm going to actually drop that one in there. And I'm going to bring her over. So now you see this one. I know it looks purple, but this is actually, it's turning red. So if it's green, it's good. If it's red, it's not going to place. The image just doesn't have the resolution to fill that photo box. And it could either be, maybe it's both the width and height are too small, or it could be one or the other. No, in this case, this box and this box, if I go to my transform, width 23p6, so this is, and these measurements are in picas. So height of 12 pica. So this is actually 6 picas equal 1 inch. So this is actually, or about a 4x2 or a little bit of that. If I bring this over, if I click on my other box, I've got a height of 24, width of 24. So one thing we can look at, I'm just going to pull up this image real quick here, and I'm going to look at its details. Okay, so it's telling me it's got a max size 27 by 28. So it's not the fact that that image was, where's the little box here? How do I close that? There we go. I'll just click somewhere else to close that. So it's not a fact that our box was it's not too wide. It's just this particular one's too tall for that one to come in here. Because if I bring this short in this box, now I've got a green. It went green. So it could be, width or height, or just one of those variable, one of those measurements. And then it's just fine. I mean, you could take it to another box to fill in. So green is good. Red, it's not going to place. I'm going to go ahead and fill in just a whole bunch of other photos here. Nope. Okay, so I've got everything filled in. Just drop stuff in here real quick. Now, while we have these, I'm going to go into a little bit of formatting in just a little bit. But one of the things that is dropping in, just have your photos, you drop these in, is once you get them in, let's say that you need to do some adjustment, or maybe you need to do a little cropping, get some heads to show right, move the picture left or right just a little bit. So if you need to, I'm going to use this one up here. Okay, so if you need to crop on a photo or make some adjustments, what you'll do is one or two ways to go about this. If you just click on the photo once, here we have the contextual toolbar pop up for us. So depending on what elements we have on a page, so if I have a photo selected, the contextual toolbar is going to have photo editing options. If I come over here and select this heading, this text box, you'll see it'll switch up to show text editing options that we have here. And then lastly, here's this shape. So if I wanted to even change the color on that banner to another color, and that's not a very appeasing shade of green there. So let me find just something else here. We'll just do like a dark gray. And I'll change that up to something kind of neat there. All right, we'll come back to that a little more. So here, cropping. So I'm going to select the photo. So you can just select it once, and then there's the crop option that is up here, and you hit crop. And then you will notice that everything kind of dims out and around, focusing just on this photo. And you'll notice that anything that falls out, or what is ghosted here outside the box, this isn't what's showing. So while we're in this crop mode, we can do a couple things. If you click and hold on the photo and then just pull down, grab it, pull it down, we can adjust it to where we have the whole kiddo scene there. Now, another thing we have here is once you have, you can also activate it by double clicking just on the photo. It does the same thing. So you can either select it, hit the crop, select, hit crop, or just double click. Now, if you want to make the image a little bit larger within that frame, here's where we can then use these little handles. Now, I'm trying to pull this out, and it looks like this photo barely met filling in just this box. So if you go to stretch any image on a page, it looks like it won't let me go that way with it. So we got an image, the image has reached maximum, so it's not going to let me take that more that way. It's going to constrain it to go with its actual height. Good question that we have here. If I use pictures from social media, will they have enough resolution for the yearbook? Typically, not always. If you're able to get the original photo, that is always best. A lot of stuff coming off the, like if you upload it to any of the social networks, it uploads like a compressed lower vision, lower resolution copy compared to the original. Now, will some of them work? If you need to, they can. I mean, they'll come onto the page. They won't be very big. They're still usable if you want to use them in a collage page, but typically, if best, try to get the original photo or that. Kind of stay away from pulling stuff down off the web. A lot of the images that are made for the web or for websites are very, very low resolution just because being out on the internet to display on just a monitor doesn't require them to be very big at all. So good question. I would try to stay away from it as much as possible. Now, one thing, kind of going through here, like I said, you can double click to crop, pull stuff down. I am actually going to clear everything off here because that's just good use of tons of templates here to make these. Some are basic, just have nothing here at all. Some have heading spots. Tons and tons of templates in here. I'm gonna bring one over here. I'm just gonna completely clear that out. And I'm gonna just get my zoom adjusted here. Okay, so let's say that you're working on your page, and let's say, you know what, I like this down here. I'm not too sold on the headline. I want something kind of different. So let's kind of look at what our options could be. I'm gonna delete that. And so we got that out of there. I just highlighted it and hit backspace. You can also hit delete, take it right out. Another thing you can do, you could come down here to your text tab. And when you go to the text tab, you then see what we have here are called styles. Now with these styles, any one of them, it's just when you drag one of these to a page, I'm just going to bring this one, it just adds a text box, but it adds a text box into that style, what is set up with that font, the size, if it's bold or not. But this is just how it starts as. Once this is on the page, we can pull it across. We're going to make this bigger. You know what? I want a really big font here. So I'm going to bring that up. No, 36 not there. Oh, went the wrong way. Let's go 40. Let's go 44. Okay. Then, type out, could be whatever you need that to be. So I can straighten it up. My alignment, actually, if I want to center that across the page. Some other neat things here. I'm going to bring down the color menu here. Now, if you just click it, bring it down, you'll have a little pin here. So it's pinned right now, but if we click that, we can then just move that around, and you can then keep this up while you're working on different stuff here on your page. So let's look at this. I'm actually going to zoom in on the program more here if I can. Okay. So when we're looking at, we have a text box selected, and we're looking at our options here. So a couple different things. The first one here is the fill. The second one here is the stroke. Now the other two is text color and then shape color. So if you have text color chosen, then you're working with just the type that's inside the box. So then your fill would be, I can make this a yellow, make it any color. Now the stroke, what this is here, this is going to be like a border around that lettering. So maybe I might find just a contrasting color here. So I'll just do purple or something. So that'll deal, so fill, dealing with the inside, strokes the other. So then, but another thing you can do here, take it a little bit step further, you can switch over to shape color, and then you're working with the actual box. So what's a third color I can put in here? I'll just do something. Oop. Oh, I had the strokes selected here, so I'm going to undo that. Make sure I have fill selected, and here we go. That's what I was trying to do there. So fill that in. So a lot of neat, a couple different things that you can, and this can get kind of a little confusing just when you're doing that on which one to select. So if shape color, you're working with the overall box, and then putting, your fill is changing this, your stroke is around the actual perimeter here. Switch over to text color, then you're just working with the lettering that is here. So that's one way we could go through there. So if you didn't want to use your own box, another thing that you could do, and if I go back under designs, I'm going to go to candids, and here's where I'm going to come down to click and go. Click and go templates are not full page templates in our program. They're actually smaller little groupings of elements that can vary. You can take parts out of templates, bring these in to fill in. So under click and go, I'm going to go under headline here. They just have a whole bunch of other different little neat heading styles, that are already kind of grouped together that we could use. And you know what? When I use headline 13, I've used this one lots and lots of times. So that's pretty neat. Have everything here. And tell you what. So now, one thing I'll show you, when click and go templates come onto a page, so you'll notice one thing, when you go to click on it, a click and go will have a dashed border around the whole outside of it. When you see this dashed border around here, that's going to let you know that this whole little group of elements is grouped together. Now, while I'm sitting here and I'm just clicking on this, I'm not able to get a cursor here to type on this. So how do I get to edit that? With this selected, what you'll have to do first is actually come over here, and you're going to see a group, but you're going to have ungroup here. So I'm going to click ungroup, and that's then going to ungroup this to where I can then select all these individual elements that are here. So then we could, retype our heading. If I selected, so there's a text box on top of this shape that's here, I'm trying to get just to the shape. If I wanted to change to a bright color or something like that, change that. Let me bring this down. And you know what? The square photos are okay, but let's say that we want to do just a little bit different here. Let's say I want to round those a little bit or something. So I can come in here, round those corners, give that a nice look. And then from here, basically we have taken one of my templates. Here real quick again, whenever that was grouped together, and I'm gonna highlight all these. So if I wanted to regroup that, I'm gonna go right here. Right here. Now we're back to a point. So so I have this click and go selected. There we go. Okay, yep, right there. So I'm gonna ungroup that again. So okay, so I took one of our templates, adjust it, gave it a heading, and you know what? Let's say I would like to use this on other pages. Here is where you'd go up and do that file, save as template. And, this would be like your candid page. Now I've made a lot of ones in here. I mean, you might call it candid page, might give it a name. Every time I do this webinar, I always call it candid page, but I'm just gonna give it a number. I lose track, so I'm gonna hit save. Okay, so if you save your own template, this is then gonna show up under designs. It's gonna show up under custom, and it will be under my templates. So again, anything that you save, head to the designs tab, go under custom, and you'll see it there in your my templates folder. And oh, it looks like I saved both pages when I did that. Okay, here's probably what I'll do. I'll do save as template. I'm gonna give it a name again, and this time I'm just gonna pick the side that I want. So you can pick, one right, which is over here, left, which I wanted to save. So I'm gonna hit save, and here it showed up. And so then you're just able to take this around. So do I want to retain anything? Nope. And here I've to take that template all the way through here. So just wanted to show you, any of our templates, nothing is set in stone here. I mean, you can either at some other point take out a box, and let's say you wanted to leave room for a text box or something in this spot. Lots of different stuff you could, really a lot of different ways you can take even our own stuff and save it as an own template. You can even start from scratch, and you wanted to go to the art tab. You wanted to find, now under the art tab, here's where you're going to find image frames. Now what image frames are basically your photo boxes. So a whole bunch of different square all the way down to parallelogram. So kind of neat stuff there. But yeah, you could definitely just drop those onto the pages, size, and then, format them into rows or all different stylings. And then, once you got something that you were satisfied with, you really liked, and you want to save it, just go to File, Save as Template. Now, let's see, where are we at? Templates, custom templates, themes. Okay, well, let's go to theme area, because what we're going to do, here's where we kind of finally get to circle back to this edit and go back to change background. I'm going to bring up the change background menu. So earlier I brought on just a generic background from here, and these are just the generics that are in here. So if you're going to, let's say that if you picked a cover and you are going to go with that specific cover's theme art, or let's even say that you had your own pictures from around the school, like a good hallway shot, or maybe you have something like a shot of the school building or different parts of the school that you wanted to use as backgrounds. That's where this little menu will come in play. When you bring this down, again, this is a menu that you can keep up, move it all around. You will then pick, which side you want to work with. This menu, let's say you didn't want an actual design background, you just want something plain. You could just choose a simple background color, make that nice. And actually, I'm gonna come back here. I just hit remove background there, take that out. All right, so to get to either the theme art or your own images, here's where you'll go to choose image. I'm gonna come here, I'm gonna click this drop down. Now, it'll allow you to access your activity images. So this is, where I was talking about if you uploaded your own shots or images here. I think I've got one somewhere down here. So it's just a background I have used for years. Here we go. Here it is. So that's just a background I've had over and over and over. So that was something not in the regular generic. It was my own background that I brought into the program, which is kind of neat. So if this was like a shot of a hallway or a schoolway, really those kind of look awesome. Another thing you do here on this menu, you can rotate those, or if you need to tint that background, just so it pulls focus back to the foreground. That's what this little slider is here. I'm going to go under here. I'm going to go back under. And so if you're looking for any of the theme art, when you come to the drop down, go under clip art. And we're going to be looking under by cover. So as we're going through, we have just different ones that we have here. Argon, Art Deco, Backpack, Branching Out is very popular. All different ones that are through here. So let's say that here I'm going to go with, I'm just going to pick diary here. So these are the theme art that went with diary. And it's kind of some different ones. Now, what I have when I run down in here, these are just clip art here. These can be accessed from the art tab from the clip art and going onto the same by cover area. It's just this menu is not going to allow you to apply it. It's just looking for the backgrounds. So here, this one's actually got neon. I'm going to just use this paper looking one here and hit select. And here we have then our theme background applied to the page. Now, if you're going with one specific theme or that, if you're looking through stuff, you're not stuck to, a lot of people like to stay within the same theme going through. Now, another thing, you're not just limited to that. So, I mean, even if you go with one theme, if you come through here, I know like with the diary that I had up here, some of those, if I go under Stonewashed has some kind of neat backgrounds that go with it that could lend itself to that book as well. Kind of that same kind of grungy kind of look there. So definitely, as you're going through, look at the different theme art backgrounds that we have here. If you have something on specific other pages that may play nice, definitely use it there and that. Kind of a marbly looking background that looks nice. But here's how you'll get to the theme art as far as the backgrounds. Now, just to touch up on where, if you would just get the clip art. Sorry, I'm kind of rambling here. Go back under the art tab. Oop, got to load it up here. Clip art. And I'm going to go to, okay, I'm under by cover. And what was this one? Diary? Yeah. So these had like little paper things we could throw on here. It's kind of cool. I like these. Sometimes we've had people with the diary, they'll put this up here. They might kind of play with the size of the thing, and I'm going to bring the text and I'll layer that over top. Here's where they would put like their teacher's heading name and then have photo over here and then class down below. So a lot of different neat setups you can do here. Backgrounds for themes, just remember, come under change background. If it's any of the other pieces of clip art that are here, just drag and drop on over and size to liking. Then you'll bring those over from the art tab. Okay, so okay, I think theme art was about the last thing I was gonna go over in that. So at this time, I got a few moments. If anyone has some time or had a few questions, yeah, great time for
Yes, I'm not sure if you can hear me, but I had a question about where did you go again to click to arrange the text over that blank sheet of paper, that little paper clip art? Thank you. Fantastic. Appreciate it.